Ancient Albatross here, and I'm here with the Cypher Unlimited crew -1, sadly. Dean could not join us today, but we do have the awesome Spigs18, or Anthony, with us today. And, Anthony, why are we here today?
We're here because 'tis the
Season 2 run one shot shots.
La 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 la. Never join a choir, Al.
No, never. Yeah, I mean, you kind of messed up the cue, but I'm not gonna talk.
I said because.
Either way.
Well, usually, we're missing our older brother, Alpha Dean. He isn't here today. He's in Florida with his wife, hopefully with a drink with an umbrella in it, enjoying the hot sun. And, we didn't have a video planned, so me and Al just decided to hop on and maybe talk about some holiday one-shots.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good time of your year. I mean, there's always a lot of holidays throughout the year, but this time of year specifically has a lot of different holidays that roll around together. So it's always a good time to, input those, holiday themes and ideas and stories, because there's a ton of holiday stories, and compile them and kind of, transform them into one shot, because why not? It's always a good time, and that might even be a fun way to spend time with your family who might be visiting, and just try to introduce them to Cypher System, and so.
And Cypher System, the core mechanics lends itself well to improv gaming, especially with monster mechanics being so easy to implement. You basically get a target number and you could BS the rest if that makes any sense. I guess I'll start it off with Al. What do you think makes a good holiday one shot?
All right, so when you really want to capture the theme of something, right, whether it be the holiday themes or whatever have you, like any theme, you really got to hit home on some key points. And for me, you gotta, I mean, this is a general GMing tip, just in general, always try to indulge all the senses when trying to encompass that theme. So for instance, let's say we're doing a Christmas game, right? They're walking around the town. They hear the crunch of hear and feel the crunch of the snow under their feet. They smell, I don't know what's a holiday baked good, but they smell that
gingerbread.
Yes, I actually don't like gingerbread, so so that's why that didn't come to mind. But either way, they smell gingerbread men cooking, baking in the bakeries nearby. They hear carolers. They hear carolers in the street or Christmas music on the radio. And obviously for visual, they smell hot chocolate. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Jesus. And again, the visual will be very easy in Christmas. They see lots of bright green and red and white lights, and they see, snowmen. They see, people dressed in, these colors that I'm currently wearing. But yeah, as long as you indulge those senses, that's the easiest way to capture a theme, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I will also add in, with especially holidays, especially winter holidays in particular, that's so many references that you could draw from. That between Hanukkah, the winter solstice, Christmas, there's so much literature, so much media that you could take, and it's also pretty cool, especially with a one shot, based on a holiday, if you could find a theme that's universally known to all your players and incorporate that somehow in the crafting of your one shot. Whether it's, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or, any random winter story. What's the Heat Miser? I don't know if you guys remember the old puppet, cartoons. You could easily, there's so many references to take from, and to take one of those references and flip it on its end and utilize it in a creative, different way could catch your players by surprise and off guard, and it could really enhance the enjoyment of your holiday theme.
And yeah, that's a perfect example, because a lot of these holiday stories, especially I'm gonna run with your example, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. like even if you're not a huge history, like oh, excuse me, not history, a huge holiday fan, you don't really like know too much about the very like detailed lore behind certain things. Everybody knows the story of Rudolph. Like it's the reindeer with the red nose. They didn't like him till they needed him to guide the way in the dark because I forget why, but they needed him for his nose.
There was a heavy snowstorm.
There we go, and they needed his nose, right? So it'd be super easy to take that story and kind of change it around a little bit and make it to like you're injecting your players into it, and they have to deal with the story now to help it move along to reach the story's conclusion. So just as
you don't even have to use the actual reindeer, depending on it could be a mechanical device.
Yes, exactly.
That illuminates some sort of light. It could be all. You could take the concept of Rudolph and make it the antagonist, make him the villain. You
have to stop it from guiding the way.
That
actually sounds really fun.
Like you could flip it on its end where it's sort of familiar but yet unfamiliar. And I also think players tend to enjoy that sort of scenario where it's like, hey, we stopped Rudolph instead of we were helping.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely creates those memorable moments because, especially when you go against the grain and you do something unexpected like making Rudolph the antagonist or whatever have you, that really sticks out in a play. I mean, at least for me, if I was in a game where we had to stop Rudolph from doing something, I would definitely remember that game for a long time, probably. Like, wow, remember that time we had to stop Rudolph from doing that thing? Like,
it's funny when you say that. Now I think of Rudolph like you could come up with an acronym for it. So
make him a robot. It's a little long. I could probably come up with a good one, but it might take a little while for that length of a name. But that's actually a fun idea. Like, and you can do that in many different like settings and genres. It could be a Numenera. It could be the Strange, like a recursion run amok or something. And if you want to like have a fictional way, like to because the Strange, everything is based off some work of fiction. Just off the top of my head, a work of fiction that has like a robotic Santa element is Futurama. So there'll be like a Futurama recursion where
Futurama actually did the evil Santa.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So there is in one of the episodes that he's in, there is a mechanical Rudolph as well. So you have images to pull from as well.
Yeah.
So that would be a fun way to play with that. And again, when you get to play with things that people are familiar with, it becomes really memorable. Not to say that making your own original stories and whatnot aren't memorable, but when you take an original story and twist it on its head, like Anthony's saying, it becomes especially memorable.
Yeah, and it's...
Oh, hey, Shrooms.
Hey, I'm a firm believer that when you take a story and change it to your own, then it is original anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like you copying the story verbatim and like nobody wants to play that. So it is original in its own right.
That definitely makes sense.
I guess we spoke about what the concept of what a holiday themed one shot will be, right? But what's like I think ultimately, since we didn't have any plans, let's craft a holiday themed one shot now. So what is the process? What's your normal process when you're crafting a one shot? I know me, you, and Dean, we're very loose, and we tend to like to give our players freedom and access to be able to, control the narrative somewhat and add input to the narrative. So if we wanted to do a fast and dirty holiday themed one shot, what would be your first step?
Well, first step is to decide what setting we're going to run it in, whether it be base Cypher System or, Predation, Unmasked, whatever. You can do holiday one shot in anything. It could be literally any of the settings. So that would be the first step. You could either, if we're doing it fast and dirty, like let's say we all had a holiday party, and we're like, yo, let's do a holiday one shot right now. Yeah. So to do that, again, we figure out, hey, boom, what setting are we going to run?
All right, so
pick it randomly. So one of you guys, if you want to pick a setting, pick one for us, and we'll try to craft the setting in that one shot, a one shot in that setting.
Yeah, and we'll do it all together. So if anybody's listening,
Oh, Predation. All right, I saw Predation first, but I
uh,
also saw the Strange. But we can do. What do you think, Anthony? So we
all
had
right,
Predation
let's
first, and then
tackle predation.
okay.
Predation, like I think we could definitely do something in predation. Predation sounds like a great idea for a holiday theme one shot.
All right, so that's how we would have chosen. And if we're at a party, we'd have just chosen a book at random from a pile, or rolled the
Yeah.
dice to pick it or something.
Yeah, and once again, just like the one of the reasons why I love Cypher System and Monica Games so much is they give you so many tools to improv and to get a game up and running between whether the Cypher shorts, any of the decks. If we wanted to, we could essentially run a game in 20 minutes just by utilizing their decks and either the instant adventures or the Cypher shorts, and we could be up and playing. So we'll kind of use that concept to craft our one shot right now. So I guess okay. So now that we know it's a setting, it's prehistoric. Dinosaurs,
Sci-fi.
dinosaurs companions. My next step would be is I need an overarching story. Like what's the purpose for these players playing this 3 or 4 hour session? It doesn't have to be in depth, but let's at least get a sentence of what's the overall arcing goal for this game.
All right, so just thinking like you can go real wacky with it, right? Because especially with Predation, there's time travel, there's time anomalies where things come through like basically portals, and like I forget what time anomalies are described as looking as in the book, but they're essentially like these portals where a data can pass through or objects, as I like to play it. So in my head, with the thing like holiday one shot, and we're just crafting it right on the get go. So in a setting like Predation, I think dinosaurs, wilderness, very dangerous, right? So what if somehow the players had to rescue Santa from a dangerous situation, right? So and
See,
wait, no, wait,
I like
wait.
Santa, but that's a little too.
No, just wait. I have an explanation though. I just like the fun explanation on how he got here, right? So how Santa they've done the science on how fast Santa has to travel to go across the world to deliver presents to each of all the children. Or I don't know the numbers, but so in my head I'm thinking the technology he has to utilize to make that distance in that time frame kind of fused and like got messed up and interfered with the time travel technology, and he got sent spiraling back in time through that interference of his technology and the time travel technology. I mean, but I know it is very cliche, but we're making this up on the spot. It's a holiday thing. We're probably drunk. Like,
all right, these are our ideas, guys. But if your guys have a better idea,
feel free. Throw something out there.
Yeah, we'll run with. But you know what I thought of? I'm not Jewish, but I thought of. Let's spin Hanukkah a little bit. Let's mess with the holiday of Hanukkah. And I was thinking that there's a fuel source that this one village has to use, and it's running desperately low. And there's some sort of invading force, and they only have enough fuel to keep the defenses up for 3 days.
Yo, that is way more subtle and an awesome idea, actually. That's a perfect play on Hanukkah for a role-playing game. Like, that would not... I don't think that would be overstepping any bounds to be offensive to anybody or anything. And, again, it draws a really nice parallel between that Hanukkah oil story.
All right, we don't know what the fuel source is, but, we're doing this fast and dirty, but that was my idea. But we open to any ideas.
I mean, I think we could run with that one. I really like your idea. I mean, no one's really saying anything. So, yeah, we can run with your ideas, like our base story for this holiday predation one-shot. And, again, I dig that because in... that's like way back the when in that wilderness, whatever, like coming across resources might be scarce once that time travel stops working, because there's that break in trading from the future to have whatever resources they probably needed. So that's an excellent way to play off this, and then the PCs have to.
All right, so if anybody in the chat, I'm not 100%. How many candles are there on the? Menorah?
I think
it's 8, correct?
I'm unsure. We could probably Google that. I want to say 7. I feel like it's an odd number, but I could because whenever I'm picturing a menorah, I see 3 even and then 1 in the middle. Um, I don't.
But I figured that there would be
9.
7. Oh, there's 9.
I mean,
Thank you.
Jesus says he thinks 9.
All right. So whatever the number is, there is 9 individual challenges to this village or this base or whatever we decide it is that the party would have to overcome throughout the course of this one shot in order to keep the fuel and the power going before the gates essentially collapse, or essentially whatever this evading force will be able to enter.
Oh, someone linked it. Let me click that. And something you can do again. I don't know many of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It looks like it's 7. I was right. Haha. Thank you for that, Abby.
Abby, you rock.
But
and that's even better because I don't think we could have came up with 9.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say leading up to that was and again, I don't know many Hanukkah or any like
Yeah, we don't have to like it. The holiday one shot is not. We don't have to be factual or like we don't have to talk. We just taking the core idea and crafting it into our own.
Oh, I don't know that, but this was just like a little bit of an aside. I was like, if you did have knowledge of like any Hanukkah-based stories or like,
and there's no reason why we can't fuse both holidays into the same one shot as well.
Yeah, and
like we could put concepts
of both. Yeah. But what I was gonna say was that that you can incorporate elements from those stories into the one shot, as again those challenges he mentioned. We have eight challenges that we need to. Oh, excuse me, not 7 challenges we need to overcome. So you can base maybe 1 or 2, however many of those challenges on those stories.
Oh, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be 7 challenges, but we could craft our adventure in 7 scenes.
Yeah.
To mimic the same. Like it doesn't have to. I'm not talking about 7 combats or 7, puzzles or something.
Just obstacles, like scenes.
Yeah. Oh no, scenes. Period. Like this one shot, I have 7 scenes in it to mimic the candles and the menorah.
Yeah, I mean that definitely makes a lot of sense. And again, it doesn't have to be like you said. It doesn't have to be combat. Doesn't have to be an actual like conflict. It'll just be, hey, they're in this whatever scene for this time, then it transitions to scene number 2, number 3, 4, whatever, until you have done.
You see, that's also Jesus just brought up a good point too. It could be a 7-day journey. Like the party leaves the base camp, and it takes 7 days back to go there and back to come back with this fuel source. We could use that as well. That's actually pretty good.
That's actually an excellent take. Yeah, and
and also it expands the amount of narration that and the narrative gets affected by the players, because now we can have a random encounter chart, because they're actually out in the wilderness.
And not only that, in a story, or in a setting like Predation, exploration actually is huge because of your dinosaur companions. Like they're the ones who can really brave whatever the environment the best, because they're dinosaurs.
All right, so what kind of village or town or what kind of group is that needs a fuel source to survive? So,
I always go.
What are they? Is it like a research team? Is it a SETI base? Is it an actual village with innocent people?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was picturing, was a village of maybe even like people who broke away from mainstay society. Like they're not a part of I forget the name of the major towns in Laramidia or whatever the place is called, but in my mind, that's how I first pictured it. Was there's some remote group. They're very far away from any major like cities or structures, and they were in desperate need of help, which is why they were so short on the resource.
Also, they're in the North Continent of the North Pole. They're in a heavy snow area.
That works.
Maybe a mountainside that's they defended. They have protection from one end, so they only have to defend half of wherever the size of their village.
And with your North Pole example, Casey brings up the perfect resource for them, which would be whale oil.
Oh yeah,
and that fits in perfectly. Like that's the resource that they need help with. And if we go the whale oil route,
And there's only 1 day left, which is the Hanukkah story, and it lasts for 7 days. So these people are. That's actually a great premise for.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic premise for a one shot, because your party is leaving knowing that this village only has 1 day left, and they know the journey is taking them 7 days to go and back. So they're gonna want to have shortcuts. They're gonna want to, they're gonna want to make the trip as fast as possible. So they're gonna take risks. And we all know when you give players risks, it creates great role playing. It creates great encounters. I'm a firm believer in letting the players screw themselves, and you just sit back and
just dictate what happens. Like, oh yeah, you guys try to go take that shortcut over that glacier over there to cut the time. Oh wait, whoa.
You want to try to throw some harnesses on some pterodactyls so you can travel faster? Go right ahead.
Oh, it just create again making the resource point or whatever far away from the village 7 days creates that excellent opportunity for that what we're just describing, that fun role playing element where you can include the dinosaurs in some way.
Yo, first off, guys in the chat, keep it coming, because your ideas are better than anything we're coming up with.
Honestly.
I really like the idea of the village, in order to protect the innocent people, they burn fuel to protect them from the beasts. So there's sort of like this flame wall that stops whatever these invading beasts are from entering the village.
And that just creates a very cool visual when you go to describe that to players who don't know that this is happening. So you guys start approaching, the horizon of this village, and you start, before you even see the structure, you start to see flames, surprisingly.
No, you know what I picture? I picture like these canister tubes sticking out of the snow, and there's some sort of sensor that when anything gets within 5 feet, they just start shooting up flames.
Oh, that's actually cool. Yeah, and it makes more sense for managing the resource.
Yeah, and anybody that lives in the village has some sort of device that doesn't trigger the sensor, so they can walk freely to and fro from the village.
I like this. I like this a lot, actually. And this is the beauty, again, if we were doing this at a party, we would be doing the same process with whoever was going to be playing with us. In this instance, it's you guys in the chat. We're just all crafting it together. Yeah. And that is, again, the beauty of Cypher System. It's just so easy to craft a story and then run with it, because when you're going to actually run the game, when you have to incorporate gameplay mechanics, it's just so easy to make it up on the spot, whether it be the target number for obstacles or the stats for a creature you might run into in the wild. It's just so easy to make it up right then and there.
All right, so somebody said whale oil, so that means that there's some sort of aquatic dinosaur-like creature that they must travel from their village to some sort of body of water.
Yep, makes sense. They travel.
Is everybody good in chat with this basic concept?
I dig it. And then
so right now, as the GM, now you have to come up with some sort of stat for this prehistoric aquatic creature.
Let me interject, because the way you're leading it makes it seem like you're necessarily going to be going to run off and kill a whale and harvest its oil or whatever have you, then bring it back, right?
Not necessarily kill it, but there might be some sort of device that actually, this is also future. Yeah, they have some sort of harpoon that doesn't kill the whale, but it fills up canisters of this whale oil.
I got you. Well, either way, you're envisioning a combat scenario with this thing, which is awesome, which is cool.
I'm not necessarily a combat scenario. I'm envisioning because they could be not necessarily going to capture this creature. They could be people that actually barter and trade that, but they have to show up to the water area. So we could do both, if we have time, because I'm a time management guy, right? And so if there isn't enough time, then there's once again, it's a one shot, and you want to keep this within a 4-hour frame. If you feel like during the course of the game, it's taken we spent 2 hours them getting to the actual location, then there's a separate village that barters and trades this, and we could explain in game how that separate village accomplish this task.
Exactly.
But if we do have enough time, they'll be like, hey, we'll give you extra oil if you come with us come with us on our ship, and then we can have a little mini aquatic adventure, scene in the one shot.
Yeah, exactly. And what Jesus just said is what I was alluding to is that if you want to avoid combat, you can have a scenario where you're talking to another group, like another group of people who do, like you said, you go to the coast and that village there on the coast, they're actually really good at harvesting that and they trade it.
Yeah. The only reason when I improv one shots, I tend not to want to have a set scene. I just want to have options.
Yeah, so this is awesome. What Casey said too, like it's up to the party to decide how they want to take it.
Yes, yeah. I want to give. I don't want to, because in my mind, and this is just how my mind works. I'm not saying anyone else is wrong for the way, but in my mind, I don't prep fleshed out scenes. I just prep out options. So I know that there's some sort of aquatic dinosaur, and I know that's where they get the oil from.
And another thing that knowing this like story and idea, that we're crafting as we go, I would definitely prep or think about prepping some kind of like polar beast that they're gonna maybe encounter in the wild, because if they do end up having some kind of wild exchange out, it would be some kind of polar beast, and that was just something I would keep in the back of my mind.
Yeah, that would be a I don't know if anybody heard any of our other videos, but I usually have a 3-scene process for a one shot, and those are the 3 scenes. Is I have an opening scene, and our opening scene will be explaining why this village is in peril, right? And then I'll have a middle scene, which I guess our prep is how they're going off to find this resource that they need to bring back to the village, and then I'll have the final climactic scene, right? Everything else is just numbers and charts and maybe a sentence of, hey, like what you said, there's some sort of, polar bear-like creature, might be one, but I wouldn't flesh any of that out.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, just like I said, I'll keep it as just like, you said you would write it down like, hey, there might be a polar bear or something. Yeah, and I would just keep that in the back of my mind. And if
anything, I might have level 6, like level 6
and that's it.
Creature, and that's it. Yeah.
Exactly, I know.
All right, so now that we know what the major conflict is, right? Who's invading this village that they need to go to such a drastic extent of having this flame?
What was mentioned, I forget by who. I'm looking back here, but either way, whoever had mentioned it was that the village is being beset by beasts. I believe it was Kenjio who said it.
But what
what specifically what it is. Okay.
You have to know what the bad guy is.
I mean, we could go with the holiday like theme or whatever have you, and this particular area happens to be like beset with I don't know if I'm using that word right, but either way, abominable snowmen, BC whatever, but abominable snowmen, and they're like these big yeti like creatures who are very destructive or something. And that keeps in tune with the theme.
Yeah, but if you have dinosaurs, how dangerous is that to dinosaurs?
I mean, they could be very strong mammals, like very strong mammals. Like, I don't know, maybe they're like 7 foot tall, very strong mammals. Like that could beat up a dinosaur, maybe.
If we go in with Hanukkah, we could go with golems, because that's actual some sort of golem abominable snowman mix, so it's sort of like stone and fur hybrid.
Actually,
there was some mad scientist that fuse whatever this like a early mammal with some sort of magical golem. Like
I just like how whenever we do predation, there's always some kind of like mad scientist. There's always a mad scientist. Yeah. But no, that would make sense. Jesus or Brilliant Loser, like they were corrupted or some way in the process of being made.
Like, matter of fact, it could have even been created by the elders of the same village, and they knew that they fucked up, and they just released them into the wild.
That's a funny take on it.
So now they're being haunted by their own creation.
I actually dig that a lot. But yeah, I mean, again, this could be played out many different ways.
Yeah.
And we're just spitballing different takes on it. But you
Yeah.
can go with any take, honestly. It could be anything that's besieging this village, like attacking it. But again, because we're doing a holiday game, want to try to keep it on theme. So again, a snowman golem makes sense, like abominable snowman, whatever. It could even be something like, if you want it to be like, maybe there's a mad scientist creating like automatons. They could be like maybe nutcrackers. Like they're just things that like eat everything they come across for what. Like he's just absorbing them for their resources, right? So he's breaking down everything into raw materials with these nutcrackers. I don't know.
Oh, that's actually cool though. We can, if we're establishing the canon that the people in this village create these sort of golem-like structures, right? We could have in the village itself, all the manual labor and tasks are done by these nutcracker-like figures.
That's a cool little element to throw in there. Yeah.
So like in the beginning of the game, when we have the characters meeting whoever the mayor of the town is or whoever we choose, if we'll say that the mayor is a female named Tiara, and Tiara, before they go into her office for our opening scene, right? We can have that they be in her like, like whoever's in charge before they enter into her hut is a nutcracker.
Yeah, so they do like the menial things. They'll be like the secretaries, like they'll do the manual labor. They're like butlers.
Yeah, they maintain these pipes that shoot out the flames.
Yeah, their maintenance. Yeah. And it's much safer to have an automaton maintaining the flame shooters than a person for obvious reasons. I like that. And again, the whole aim when you're crafting the holiday one shot is to try to make people think about the holidays. And again, these little details here and there, like the nutcracker automatons would just, hey, there's nutcrackers. Yeah, I know nutcrackers are part of Christmas. Even though you're trying to play off, again, like what Anthony said, the game was more of a Hanukkah game at this point. But having other holiday references in there's no harm in it, really.
You know what this is starting to remind me of? I don't know. I know you've never seen this movie, but this movie is really old. But it's Laurel and Hardy, Attack of the Wooden Soldiers.
I sure haven't.
And it's basically about a village where nutcrackers, they use nutcrackers to defend their village because it's sort of like these gargoyles that are attacking. And Laurel and Hardy find like these hundreds of nutcrackers and they actually turn them alive somehow. I don't fully remember, but it kind of is giving me that feel.
Yeah, and again, this little story we're weaving here sounds like pretty memorable and fun.
I will play this.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, maybe if we have time, we could actually run this game. Like, we'll review the video, make actual notes, and actually run it. But for us to actually run it, we can't really talk about a conclusion. But either it won't be a.
I wouldn't have a conclusion.
I know what you mean. Yeah, to give people the option of what they got to decide how they want to approach it anyway.
And to be honest with you, with a one shot, especially a one shot that is just a holiday thing, you don't really need to develop a conclusion.
That's true.
You just need to have because the conclusion is whether or not they make it in time with this oil. Because if they don't, that's a conclusion as well. All conclusions it doesn't have to be wrapped up tightly in a bow. Okay? So what I did there, holiday wrapping.
I'm turning off the stream now. Bye. No, but yeah, definitely. I think this would be a fun thing to run, maybe around Christmas time if we don't have anything going on, because people will be busy with stuff. But I don't know if you guys will be busy, but whatever. But maybe we can make it happen. I think that would be a fun idea.
All right, so how, I like to think, another question I want to ask everybody in the audience and you is, how do we explain that they only have enough oil for one day and this trip is 7 days? Are we going to give them some sort of option to be able to make it back in time in one day? Or is there going to be, or are we going to have some sort of explanation? Because if not, 1 day of travel and the city's going to get, the town or village is going to get destroyed.
Well,
how do we emphasize that, like the urgency in gameplay? We'd only just say, hey, we only have enough oil for one day. So like we have to give them an option to be able to accomplish the task.
Well, what I mean, you can just say that they have maybe what you call it. Instead of 1 day of oil, they have 6 days worth of oil, so they have to make it back a day sooner than proposed.
Yeah, but then it takes away the story. We want to keep the Hanukkah theme, and the whole story of Hanukkah is they only had enough oil for 1 day and it lasted 7 days.
But the thing is, again, if you want to play again, I don't know the specifics of the story, but in what
we don't need the.
Yeah, it's just
specific, but that's the
it's
the core.
It's a miracle where 1 day of oil lasted 7 days, or whatever, however many days it is. 7 days of the story. So we don't really have to explain it. The PCs will just have the urgency to begin with, because what in the PC's mind, like, okay, right, they have 1 day of oil left, right? After 1 day of oil, the fire defenses are gone. They're not defenseless per se. They can still defend themselves with their militia or whatever have you. It's just they're way less safe with the firewall down.
All right, so that's what I was looking at. So then we know as a GM, because I want to break it down so people that are listening to this are not necessarily GM, so they can see what the mindset of a GM is.
Gotcha. Okay, but yeah,
I'm not looking for the answer. I'm looking for so now we know narratively that before the players leave, we have to have some sort of description or narration of soldiers getting ready.
Yep.
Because they're expecting that these, creatures are going to burst through in 24 hours. So it also, brings up the urgency for the players when they see that, these golem, nutcrackers got their swords ready and, they practice in marching. You see the normal villagers, setting up tower defenses. So you do the little scene. I love using children. You saw the little scenes practicing heading into a bomb shelter or heading into, to emphasize the point that there's serious danger for your friends and family if you do not succeed in your mission.
Yep, and again, that is an awesome play on it, and it provides the urgency with plausibility. It's like they're not instantly all gonna die after the oil runs out in a day. They have their own physical defenses ready, and again, it drives home the urgency because the longer they take, the more people could potentially die. And I think that's that. Is there any more that we can add? I think this is a pretty fleshed out one shot at this point.
Yeah, okay. And the one last thing I would prep, okay, we have our intro.
Yes.
Which our intro is actually pretty extensive. And, I think you could get multiple scenes. I still like the idea of having 7 scenes, not necessarily combat. Yeah. So now we have a scene of meeting whoever's in charge. We have a scene of showing what the threat is. We have a scene of the preparation. So now we already have 3 scenes done before they actually go out on the adventure, right? Or start whatever this journey is. So now we just need to flesh out what the middle scene would be.
It's like I'm laughing at Ethan's what he just. I honestly wasn't expecting, and people would die when I tuned into a holiday special. I mean, it's not all flowers and flowers and candy and holiday stories. I'm sure there's some like dark holiday stories like Krampus or whatever have you.
Ethan, if you just joined in, we settled on we chose randomly predation, and we chose to try to infuse Hanukkah into some sort of holiday predation adventure.
And the story is pretty good. But another thing that you'd have to worry about in this situation is making characters for people. Like, again, if you're in a party situation, you just want to make something on the fly. Ideally, you would just, like me, knowing if I'm going to a party that has people who play Cypher System or people I want to introduce to it, I would have just printed out random pre-gens and brought them with me. Yeah. But on the off chance that you don't do that, it's pretty easy to craft things on the fly. You would just have someone to have a book or whatever have you. Or I believe the Cypher Shorts has like a quick generation tool in it, and you could go by that as well.
And also, since we know we're dealing with a mountainside winter, we could definitely add a small mammal in, because that could be very useful. Somebody with a small mammal, and some sort of, since they go into water to find some aquatic, maybe there's an opportunity to add some sort of dinosaur that's capable of swimming.
Most definitely. I mean, that would just make sense. Again,
Yeah.
and it depends on how you want to go about it. But I feel like each player would want to craft their dinosaur.
Yeah.
But just as a player or whatever in mind, just remember, like, you can play with those themes, knowing like you already discussed the story beforehand.
Yeah.
You can kind of know what's useful or whatever. Or you can just have fun with, like, I want a little snow lemur.
Yeah.
Oh, but
That's actually really good too, because snow lemur, you know, it can hide in the snow. You know.
Yeah, it's trained in stealth. Boom, there we go. That's my snow lemur. Has 4 HP. Does 2 damage.
So did we settle on some a scientist that was kicked out of this village? Because then we will have to some sort of flesh out.
I actually like that. I mean, your first idea was funnier, where you're saying the villagers themselves created it and they just turned on them because they messed up. Yeah. I think that's a funnier story, but a dynamic story would be like there was a scientist doing experiments that they didn't approve of and they kicked him out, and then that scientist taking his revenge by making these things to attack the town. If you want to play it that way, yeah, we would have to come up with a doctor person.
Yeah. Oh, so it's some sort of the big threat is golems that have somehow fused with abominable snowmen, right? So we have these golem-like structure that half stone, half living being. I like that.
Yeah, that's an awesome bad guy for them to face off against if it comes down to combat. And then for whatever reason, if the PCs take a path that lead them to the doctor's base, then they can have an epic showdown with this super smart scientist who's capable of creating these things.
Yeah. We could also go with the idea that the village itself.
I think that's funnier. I just think that's funnier, honestly.
So you know what else that does?
Dr. Grunch.
You know what else? It adds the crazy scientist that came up with the idea, and now he has to come with the party because he feels guilty.
Oh, and he has to fix what he started.
Yeah, so you could add that crazy NPC that's nuts, that, and they take him along with him, on this adventure. And it also, sometimes it's good to have that when it encourages role playing with the characters.
Yeah, because now when they're traveling or whatever have you, there's that idle time. They'll want to talk to the NPC to try to maybe learn stuff or something. And again, as GM, it makes it more fun because now you get to play. You get to role play as somebody with the players at the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have time and you want to be a dick, you could always make them flip.
But I really like that idea, though. What Jesus just said, that the scientist's companion is the only golem that turned out okay.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
I like that. I really like that idea. Like the first one came out perfect, but then every iteration afterwards was a mess.
Or you could do the gremlin thing that he got something happened that they actually spawned from the original one. Like how you put water on a gremlin.
I like that too. But I think this story is pretty fleshed out at this point. Like there's many different routes the players could take this kind of story at this point. They can either fight the whale, go trade for it, maybe even potentially if they're going with the story where the doctor is someone who got kicked out, they could potentially go find him and stop it at its source. But I like the other idea better, where he's like in the village and then he joins the party as trying to.
The only thing I would add is I would keep in mind, even if they get the fuel source, right, you still want to have that scene where even if they make it let's say they make it in a day and a half, you could have them come back to the exact moment where the oil runs out and the creatures start invading. Yeah. Because that's a good visual, that's a good cinematic scene that you can end the game. Like, the last 40 minutes is this climax battle. The player characters have a choice to make. They could attack the golems from behind, or they could choose to try to sneak in the base and fix the flame wall to at least stop more from coming in.
Yep.
And that could be your climactic scene, your final scene in the game.
Yep. And it's exactly what as soon as you said it, Jesus said it in the chat too. Like he recommends that there's a big tension ramp up for returning to the village, and the big ramp up will be knowing that you're getting there right as the oil would be running out.
And Kenji said another scientist sabotaged the project. So right. That is so right. I know it's cliche, but it's bloody good.
Yeah, and that could have been the outcast scientist. Then you can include both in the story. You said that a while ago. Sorry, I just saw it.
I'm sorry. I don't have a second monitor right now, so I'm just looking off my iPad. So I'm a little late on that. A little slow on the roll.
But yeah. So I think this one shot idea is pretty wrapped up. Again, character generation could just go however you see fit at the party situation that you're at. Ideally, you would have pre-gens already handy. But again, I believe the Cypher Shorts thing goes over. Actually, I have that right here. I don't want to look for it, but it has a brief like how to do a quick character gen. All
right, so I know you're trying to wrap this up, but we only been like 30 minutes.
45 minutes.
So, okay, now that we got a story, what are we prepping? We got a story now. All right. Because we talking about crafting a holiday one-shot. So let people see what the process is.
Exactly.
Okay. We got a story now. Okay. So now we have an opening scene. We have our middle scene, which is basically the hero's journey. They're traveling, right? And then we got our final scene where we know that somehow we want the party to be arriving just as the oil is running out, right? What do we have to prep? Okay.
Well, I can tell you what the next thing. Yeah. The next thing I would prep when I would be sitting down for this, and even if I get 10 minutes, 15 minutes to actually prepare in this impromptu scenario, the next thing I would want to plan out is maybe 10 or 12 ciphers that are holiday related. Like candy canes that give stat boosts. What is it like? Ornaments, grenades, or something. They look like Christmas ball ornaments or something. Like just any sort of holiday themed item you could think of, and just attach an effect to it.
I like the idea of a dreidel that drills a tunnel in the ground and lets you go a long distance.
Yeah, see, stuff like that. That would be the next thing in my mind to start planning out. On top of that would be maybe holiday themed items that that the players might find in the town, to purchase or maybe barter for or be given. Again, it might be ciphers, it might be equipment, maybe they're visiting this town for whatever reason. All their knives are red and white striped, like peppermint, and they get gifted one or something, just to keep that theme going. That's just something I wouldn't actually craft any stats or anything for things like that, but it's just something I would keep in mind just in case the players might want to get something that has a holiday bearing.
The things I would probably think that we would need to stat, at least have a basic stat, is the golems. You definitely have to stat out the golems. I would probably want to stat out the crazy scientist that messed this whole thing up, flesh out a full name. The mayor of the town, flesh out a full name. Stat out whatever this fuel source is. Stat that out because you might need that. And I would probably have 4 random encounters. Not saying we're going to use them, but just 4 random encounter, either creature base with a minus, a minus sentence, rock slide.
Yeah. And to just piggyback off that, be rock slide. Players have to deal with an avalanche. It'll be you put a general idea, then a small sentence. So another thing would be
with a target number.
Yeah, roughly how hard you want the encounter to be. So and another thing could be wild beast encounter, polar bear or whatever 4. Yeah. Another thing could be encounter or interrupt hunters. And then you have to deal with interrupted 3, whatever. You have to either talk to them or fight them or whatever. But their target numbers are 3. Snowstorm is another good one. They have to deal with a snowstorm. That's 4, whatever.
And that's it. You just have that on the side. If you need them, great. If you don't need them, that's also great. but at least you have a general idea. A lot of people confuse improv with doing zero prep, but that's not necessarily improv. Improv is having some ideas not fleshed out, but in your back pocket.
And what Jesus just said is excellent too. Is that these ideas don't necessarily have to be encounters for the players. They could be things that the players see or know that's coming that's going to affect the village and want to hasten their return. Yes. It adds that element of that what is the urgency of wanting to complete the task faster.
But I definitely see we have 4 hours worth of gameplay.
And I think another thing that you might want to craft, because I feel like a lot of players might want to take this route, is statting out a whale, because I feel like some players just want to go hunt a whale, because I just know that's how players are. It's like, no, we don't want to barter for the oil. We don't want to. I want to go find a whale.
You see, I wouldn't want to go straight whale since it is.
You do some kind of iteration of like a whale hybrid, but essentially stat out that thing that drops the resource.
Yeah, that was the first thing I said, dude.
Oh, what? No, I thought you said stat out the resource itself, like the.
No, I mean stat out the wherever they get the resource from.
Oh, I thought you meant like if they like happen to find some of the resource on their journey to like use as a cipher or something.
Oh no, I meant like the resource itself.
Okay, yeah, obviously,
That's the first thing you got to stat out.
Yeah, because they're definitely gonna want to hunt the whale for sure. Yeah. But as far as other stuff to prep, if you want to get extra fancy with it, you could potentially craft an artifact that the players can share or use amongst themselves. That's a holiday theme, like maybe a snow globe that when they shake it causes the earth to rumble or something. Like you could just come up with something cool.
And you know what's the beauty about this too is that any of the Numenera decks will work just fine. Any of the artifact Numenera decks.
Yeah, but because so sci-fi heavy and technologically advanced.
Even the strange decks will also work with this.
Basically, I think any artifact or Cypher deck works in this setting because of the high tech and prehistoric nature of it. Like there could be everyday items, there could be magical items flavored as high tech, and if you have those decks on hand, that's A+ to have if you're having this kind of impromptu game, because you don't have to worry about coming up with it. You just reflavor what you pull from the deck.
Yeah, and like this is a perfect example. We've been talking for 40 minutes. We actually probably been crafting this one shot for maybe 35 minutes, and we have not fully fleshed out, but we have a good shell of a 4-hour holiday themed one shot.
Yeah, and again, the important thing to like when you're like running these things is also keep the themes flowing whenever you can with the smells and the all the senses, anything that you can like encompass that.
Another thing I like to definitely stress out is you should never be married to your first idea. Just because this is what we wrote in a sentence, the players could probably come up with something way better. Like say we had this concept of this, some sort of prehistoric whale that's producing this oil. But one of the players in passing could say, hey, there's also this other village. Let's just go raid this village. I know that they use the same oil. And that could change dramatically, the whole middle part of your game. If it's a better idea, I'm not saying that idea is better, but whatever idea they come up with, that's a better idea, run with it.
Yeah,
but there is this other village that.
But that's a really good tip just in general when you're running like any one shot, or I guess they could go for campaigns too, depending on how your campaign is set up. But that's just true of all like GMing. If your like you can't be married to any of your ideas, because there is the player will say something cool or have a better idea than what you have planned out, and just run with it, because that's usually the most fun is when the players get to see their vision in the story. Yeah.
I know there's two different camps of running games, because there's some GMs that like to have full control of the narrative, and some of those games could be absolutely enjoyable. I'm not trying to say that you should, if you're comfortable prepping, the entire story and every scene beforehand with all the stat blocks, if that's what makes you comfortable as a GM, you could go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
But I think for what we're doing here for this, this method of fast and dirty one shot. We only have an hour to prep before the game starts. Not being married to your initial idea is great advice.
Yeah, most definitely. And again, in this sort of situation, we're just coming up with stuff on the fly. Having that flexibility is actually very key, because if you find yourself married to an idea and the players are taking one other route, you might find yourself clunkily trying to force them back the way you wanted, and it just might break immersion or just feel like, again, clunky is the best word. It just doesn't feel right.
Railroady.
Yeah, exactly. Like railroady, clunky, like, and again, well, at the end of the day, as long as everybody's having fun, that's really like, you don't have to masterfully pen out your story as is. What really matters is fun.
I mean, I think this is actually a really good holiday themed idea, and I'm kind of happy that we didn't do the traditional Christmas and we went a different route.
Yeah, most definitely. That was an excellent idea. I'm glad that was the first idea that came into your mind, aside from my cliche of rescuing Santa from the wilderness. Though I would still play that game.
Yeah, I would play it too. Actually, did someone on our server run a Rescue Santa game? I think someone did.
Yeah, it was a future. It was a. I think I actually played in that game, and it was based off of Futurama.
So you plagiarized someone else's idea?
I mean, the story that they played was, it was Robot Santa who kidnapped regular Santa, and you had to rescue regular Santa from Robot Santa.
Yeah, I think
Futurama.
I think I played a Rescue Santa game several times. I've been playing for like 20 something years. I remember sitting at a table rescuing Santa somewhere.
But yeah, are there any other things that you might want to prep for this? Like, I think that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think the prep for this, I think if I was running it on Roll20,
it'd be basically ready.
Yeah. And the only thing I would say is I would want to, just for cinematic purposes, I would want to make this flame war gate mimic a menorah. So I would try to find an image. I would try to find an image of a menorah, and try to incorporate it somehow in this gate that shoots flames up, just so they could get a little visual of this is where the initial idea came from.
I actually like that idea a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Is there any other things you want to talk about, Anthony? Or
no, happy holidays, guys. And next week we coming back with I'm running a Kung Fu Run Shore inspired one shot called The Burning of Red Lotus Temple, live here same time. I think our start time next Wednesday is 10:30. Because my wife is going to an office holiday party, and she needs a little time to get home and put the kids to bed. So I think our start time is 10:30. But it's a fun. I ran it once before. Once again, that was a fast and dirty one shot that I put together. But now with the second time running it, I think I have it a little more fleshed out. But if you like old 80s kung fu movies, you're gonna enjoy this game.
And yeah, I'll be in it. I haven't come up with a name for the character yet, but I'm playing a drunken master or a drunken, warrior, whatever you want to call it. But tell me, the drunken style. Like,
I know. Casey's in the chat, and Casey played Nana, I believe. Is that right, Casey?
But yeah, I'm definitely very much looking forward to playing in that, and again, I'm looking forward to presenting it to all of y'all on stream. And yeah, look forward to that. Thank you all again for stopping by. As Anthony said, happy holidays to y'all, whatever you celebrate, happy holidays. We'll be back again next week, around same time, I guess a little bit later starting. So be sure to come back for that. Should be a lot of fun. And
if anybody in the chat wants to play this actual game, free, we're more than happy. If you want to run it, we're happy with that as well too. I'll gladly play ass kicking Gollum, abominable snowman fighter.
Yeah, I definitely would be up for playing or running this, depending on how much time or energy I have, because my energy can get low at times. But either way, if you haven't followed the Twitch channel, be sure to drop us a follow if you enjoyed what you saw. I think everybody here is already following, but thank you so much for following. We're in the process of getting to affiliate status so we can have subscribers and emotes soon. We just got to finalize the few steps, but we already met all the requirements, so be on the lookout for that as well.
We also have a YouTube channel where majority of our videos, we do a ton of content, or we interview a ton of content creators, Twitch streamers, game designers. We're in the process of running through the gambit of all the MCG employees, and we get into the big boys soon. So I think we have 3 more interviews left, and hopefully in a couple months we'll have Monty on to cap our Monica game series, which is going to be awesome. So, please check us out on YouTube. Please subscribe to that. Please share it with your friends. Every little bit helps. We truly appreciate everyone on the community, everyone in the community that supports us. And, we do everything we can to support the Cypher Limited community. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this.
And just to piggyback a little bit off that, we also do upload whatever. Now we've transitioned to kind of streaming everything we do, but we also upload everything we stream to YouTube as well. So this video will be on YouTube probably tomorrow. Yeah. We'll be sure to share that link out, and when you do get the link or watch it, be sure to share it around as well. That'd be very appreciated. We appreciate everything y'all do for us. We wouldn't be here without y'all. And again, happy holidays, and thank you so much for stopping by. We love you guys.
Hey, my whale blubber's running out.
Wait, your what?
My whale blubber is running out.
But be sure to drop that follow. Be sure to drop a subscribe on the YouTube page. And I think, any final words, Anthony, before sign us off?
Love you guys. Happy holidays.
And from us at the CU, we will see you later.